Hello, Tim Torres here to share with you a resource to help with teaching the 7 habits of highly effective people, social emotional learning lessons of the highly effective practices to your students, whether it be in a virtual way or whether it be in a live or in class way. So first things first is to make sure that we're signed into our leaderandme.com account. So make sure we're signed into that account. And if we're signed into that account, that's going to make it so that all of those this resource that I'm about to share with you, all the links will be able to are ready to use, and that you'll have access to it. So now that I'm connected, I can go to this resource, and what you'll notice here is on the bottom, you'll see tabs, and it goes actually kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. Now, when I'm looking right now, I'm in 3rd grade, and so I'm looking at 3rd grade. What I'll notice is I'll have all the lessons, links to the lessons from leaderme.com resources in column B. So, for example, if I go to the lesson 8, proactive language, if I click on that link, it'll take me straight to the page in leaderme.com where I can display the 2 workbook pages and have a really nice class discussion. I can use the presentation mode of the lesson with my class as we look at the workbook. And then you also find other resources like an interactive story or a movie that might connect to that lesson that'll be in that place. So every single one of these links will take me to the actual lesson. Now, after I do the lesson, and maybe I've had that discussion with them a couple of days, maybe on Wednesday, I'm going to send home this little school home connection message. So for example, with the proactive language, our class talked about using proactive language. Ask your child, what does proactive language sound like? And so I can actually copy and paste this into whatever it is that my school uses for that school home communication, and I can send that home. On the right-hand side of that, you'll see a Google Translate Spanish version that I can send home as well if I want to access. I have parents that speak Spanish. And so from there, I can go to the right-hand side of that, and on column E and F, you're going to find video links that aren't password protected, that actually can copy and paste, send home. Ask parents, hey, watch this video with your child and maybe discuss what would this look like at home. And then there's also some nice document links as well that we can send home. So we're having that home connection, and students are learning it at home, and it's being reinforced at home, and it's also being learned and reinforced here at school. Now, looking at this resource, there are a couple other things I can take a look at. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see where it says daily questions. If I click on that, it's going to take me to like questions of the day, and there's like 180 questions that I can use as a resource, as like maybe at the beginning of the day, that actually reinforces that social emotional learning and makes that social emotional learning real for our students. So like, what are some decisions you've made recently that you're proud of? What are some things you do without being asked? What do you do when you're nervous? And so we're really getting to know each other and really just making this social emotional learning real for our students. So that's resources right there under daily questions. Also, what you'll notice is just how everything is organized. There's like a pacing guide if you'd like to use that in column A. Now, the first 6 lessons are actually meant to be used in the first 8 days of school. So you could use those first 6 lessons the first 8 days of school, or you can click on the link for the first 8 days, and it'll take you to the first 8 days curriculum in leaderme.com. So also where you see level 3 lesson posters, you see where it says lesson 3 posters, this was made outside of Franklin Covey, but wanted to be able to share this with you. And how it was designed was to create a poster for the lessons that are being used for like for example, be proactive. So this can be printed out and it can be posted in the classroom. And so every time before we read a story, I could say, hey, remember, we're looking for examples or non-examples of these concepts that we've learned about be proactive. I've also heard of teachers using this and posting it in their classroom, and then actually making tally marks as like a celebration for every time they see an example of a student being responsible or using proactive language or being that transition person, to celebrate that growth that we want to see in our students. And another way I've seen it or heard of it being used is where they take clips of the students' names, and those students that are being leaders of these different principles will actually, they'll clip their name close to it. So you can use it or not, but it's there for you, and it goes through each of the lessons that are actually and principles that are being addressed in that grade level. Now, so now I have one place all of my lessons I can access virtually. I have my parent home, my school home connection message that I could use, and it's all here in one place. Now, I do want to show you another thing, and the other thing is if I scroll after sixth grade, I'll see a TK2 literature list and a third through fifth grade literature list, and where there are examples of stories that we could use that really do a good job of addressing some of these highly effective practices and social emotional learning concepts. If I continue past sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, those lead journals, then I'll run into the literature lists for sixth through eighth grade of examples of literature that will address these the different highly effective practices and key concepts within that social emotional learning. So this is the resource that has been provided. If I'm wanting to make this like real easy for me, then what I can do is I can actually just click on the star and bookmark this tab right here, so I have everything in one place. And so amongst the whirlwind of school, because there's a whirlwind, I can just go to my favorites, open this up, and as long as I'm signed in to my leaderandme.com account, I have everything at my fingertips to ensure that I'm continuing to develop my students and their social emotional learning. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing how you use this and with your students and in your classrooms, whether again it be in your classrooms or virtually.